Welcome to Real American Monsters.
Hello, my friends in Monsterland. Tuesday night, once again, on the Untold Radio Network's Real American Monsters. And we're back in the chair. We're back at the helm. We're writing down in the captain's log. And tonight, like every other Tuesday night, we have another great show for you. Our guest tonight, the host and creator of Bigfoot Society, Jeremiah Byron, is with us. He's back in the green room right now, smoking cigars, drinking some iced whiskey. I don't know whatever they do back there, but we won't tell you the rest. And he's just chilling. What a great guy. I've been on his program before, and we're honored to have him here tonight. One of the nicest guy in the community that you'll ever meet. Really nice guy. So glad to have him here, and I'm glad to have everybody else here in the chat room. The Squatch Father himself, Alfred Santoriga's here. Good evening, Al. Roger Holler. Good evening, Roger. How are you doing, my friend? Flat Rock, Wood Booger himself. And Flat Rock, we were just talking about you pregame. Jeremiah wants to have you on his show, so I'm going to hook you up afterwards and get you on there. BF Bud is on the prowl tonight also. Good evening, Robert. Mary Jo is with us tonight, and everybody's pouring. Mr. Randy Brooks, who's headed to LBL in the morning, isn't it? Everybody's pouring, and Miss Diane Fowler's with us. Good evening. Good evening, one and all, and what a great show we're going to have for you tonight. So I got really not much to report. I have finally recouped from the trip to Alabama. Back on my own 2 feet again. We're going over audio and stuff like that. We've got a lot of good catches, and we're using this new program. I'm just learning how to do it. Oh, Francesca, good evening. Just that's about all that's going on here, and working on the Winstead Wildman documentary. And of course, still recording for the Cells documentary too. So, all right, well, that's enough of me blabbing. Our friend is backstage. Let's beat him out. The host and creator of Bigfoot Society, Mr. Jeremiah Byron.
Chris, how's it going, man? Thanks for having me on your show.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. And Tuesday night, I know it's the beginning of the week. It's kind of a tough day to get organized and get on air. And I really appreciate it. And you're a busy man. You got like 20 podcasts going today, and you got a lot of stuff going on. So I really appreciate it. And the folks here in the chat really appreciate it too. So thank you.
Absolutely. There's some good people in there. I just want to shout out real quick. Some of my buds. I mean, there's so many good people in here, but I just want to say Bigfoot Fades is legit. It's got a great channel, and she is boots on the ground out there in Oregon getting some great encounters. So I recommend getting to know Bigfoot Fades. And a good friend, Roger Holler, of course. We both know Roger, but so many good people in the chat.
Yeah, I agree. We have a great chat room. Everybody keeps it cool for whoever's on, and in Real American Monsters, we have expanded to everything. We're going after all the cryptids. We're going after the ghosts. I mean, my Halloween special is Linda Sigmund, Mothman. We're going to do Mothman for Halloween, so I'm really excited because I don't know anything about Mothman, so I'm very excited for that. I have to do some homework over this weekend, but I'm excited to have her especially. So I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, and good, and welcome Bigfoot Fades. I believe that's the first time she's been here tonight. So everybody's very, very nice in the chat room, and you'll have a great time talking to folks in there for sure. So Jeremiah, a lot of people know who you are, and I'm in the chat room and out in Bigfoot land. But for those that don't know who Jeremiah Byron is, you want to just give them a little background on yourself before we get started?
Absolutely. So story is kind of similar to some people you'll hear on the show, where grew up watching In Search of with my father, and kind of thought that was cool. When you saw the Patterson Gimlin film for the first time, you're like, oh my goodness, this is wild. Then later on in life, maybe let's say around 2017, 2018, started to realize that the area I'm in Iowa has a little bit of weirdness going on. And me and my work buddies figured out, hey, we have a cryptid called the Van Meter Visitor. And so we realized there's a festival next to where we live. And my buddy was doing a documentary with Small Town Monsters and had me, he's like, you should come out and watch me film it. And so I went out to a area where he was having the interviews. And at the last minute, my buddy Andrew says, hey, I need you to actually be the guy off of camera that comes up with questions to get these interviewees to say what they need to say for the documentary. So it's during that where I realized, hey, I love doing this interview thing. And I was like, I could do my own show. So then I started what is now Bigfoot Society. At first, it was a show where I talked to anyone within cryptozoology. But about a year and a half ago, I realized, hey, it's important to talk to people that have encountered Bigfoot. They need a spot where they can really get out there what happened to them and worked through that in a place where they won't be made fun of and a respectful environment. And so for the last maybe year and a half or so, it's been all Bigfoot all the time. And I've started to go out to different places around the US and start to do some research of my own. I'm sure we'll talk about that later on the show, but that in a nutshell is what we're looking at when we talk about Bigfoot Society and how I got there.
Awesome. You're freezing up a little bit. We might have to have you come back if it continues, just to let you know. But
okay.
So seeing things being filmed out in the field and with the background and seeing all the stuff in there, what was the real kicker that wanted you get you out into the field, from the podcast itself, experiencing it firsthand?
Well, I'll tell you, it is all due to a friend that we probably both know. I'm sure you've heard his name before. His name is Tate Hieronymus. And he was very, very adamant that that I go out into the field with him and see what this Bigfoot thing is all about. And so we went out to a place in Iowa that he knows about, and he's like, "You gotta check this place out." We go out there, stuff started happening. Now I'm really new to this Bigfoot field, and I remember the same day we went out there, a tree gets pushed over like 20 feet in the woods. And I'm like, what's going on out here? Is someone lighting fireworks off here in the woods? And he's like, dude, we are so far out here in the woods. There's no fireworks. We then started getting tree knocks around us. Let's see, I had a recorder out. And that next night around 3 a.m., I actually captured what was sounded like a zipper noise, which other people in Iowa have also heard that as well. That's really how it started. After that, then I started going out to the same area in Iowa over the last few years. And then, I started, I got invited to a festival out in Oregon in the Willamette National Forest. And I mean, that's really where things got weird. And, we're going to be showing stuff about that later on in the show, I know. But that's really how I got into the whole Bigfoot thing, is the persistence of one Bigfoot researcher, and totally changed the game for me. So
did it change the way you handled your podcast? Did you make changes after you had your first experience?
I would say so. Once I spent time out there, then I kind of started to realize different questions to ask the person I was talking to. And as I've gone along, I mean, there was a time, it was last year, where I was doing a solo overnight, a few nights in the same area in Iowa. And I had something walking around my tent at 3 a.m. in the morning. And when you're in that situation where you're laying there in your tent and you're just like, you can't even breathe, you can't move, you can hear your blood pressure going crazy, and there's something right outside, then what that witness is going through, because you've been through it yourself. It was a really weird overnight, because the next day I got out of my tent, and on the picnic table in front of the tent, there was a plastic fork with a squirrel tail stuck through the tines of the plastic fork. So I'm like, I don't know if that was some sort of weird gift thing. That was the only time I've received anything like that or had that in my area when I've been out camping. But so in that way, it does help.
I've been looking at some of your pictures, and we'll go through them later. And you've had a lot of the weird happen to you. I mean, you're not getting the everyday wood knock, you know, interaction. You're getting like full on watch out stuffed animals now with forks with squirrel tails, stuff like that. Why do you think that is? You've heard hundreds and hundreds of interaction stories. Why do you think that different people experience different things?
So I think, boy, this is a lot's going to go on record tonight, Chris.
Your opinion, that's all that matters.
Right. So I think that when an individual goes into a certain place that has had really active, really high Bigfoot activity, or there's a Bigfoot there, it can really affect the person in different ways. And I think when you're in these like areas that are really charged, you're going to start experiencing things that are out of the ordinary. And sometimes those things may kind of start to show up in your life, whether you like it or not. So I think that might have been something to do with it. And I'm talking specifically about the area I went to in Oak Ridge, Oregon, way out in the woods, which is it's a very intense area. I mean, the first time I went out there, I ended up really in urgent care. It was intense to say the least. So that kind of thing, going out in the woods and experiencing things like that, it makes you respect what the subject can do. And I know that you also have experienced things. You need to treat it with respect. I mean, the whole like thing where people say jokingly, "Be careful what you wish for." My goodness, it's way truer than most people realize that are just getting into this field, I think.
Right. I agree with you 100% on that. I never in a million years would imagine the stuff that's happened to me ever go on. And my wife too, she's experienced a lot of it too. And she doesn't want to experience it, and she has just being around me, and it's a total game changer. She won't even go in the forest. I feel bad now. She won't even go in the woods anymore. And she used to hike in the woods. She had no problem going by herself and for a walk down a trail. Now nothing. So you hear so many people in it, and now it's all like coming 360. Now you're hearing more and more of the other side of things, more than the ape side of things. You're hearing more of what I guess they call the woo side of it. And you hear, I'm going to base all this on you hear more interactions probably than the BFRO does, with doing your show. And I mean, daily you have interactions. And would you say that there's more of the strange reports coming in now and more accepted than the ape side of everything? Do you think it's still the ape flesh and blood side is still strong? I'm not saying stronger than the other. I'm just saying, what are you hearing more of? Which side, which way things happening out there?
Yeah, absolutely. So just to put some foundation, so I do hear a lot. So I'm constantly talking to people for the show, but also I'm constantly getting email, and I'm constantly getting stuff on Facebook Messenger and pretty much any social media network. And also at this point, I still read through every comment on YouTube. A lot of the shows come through the YouTube comments, people reaching out, and then I reach out and say, hey, send me an email. That being said, I hear a lot, and there's a lot of really interesting stuff that comes in. I would say 2/3 of the stuff that I hear has some form of high strangeness, paranormal thing attached to it. 1/3 is, hey, I was a hunter out in the woods and I saw something that looked like a big gorilla, and I'm not sure what it was. So definitely, I think people are becoming more empowered to reach out with the stuff now that they would have been like, hey, I'm not going to talk about this years ago because people are going to think I'm crazy, you know?
Okay. So again, back to the interactions because you hear a ton of them. So give me one interaction of flesh and blood and one interaction of high strangeness that you feel that you've heard out of all of them that could change someone's mind on whether Bigfoot exists or not to the normal everyday person. What two stories? One flesh and blood strictly, and then one with the high strangeness in it. What two interactions would you think would change? I know it's a tough one.
Ooh,
Out of all of
that's
them, I
a
know.
really good question. Um, let's see. So, hmm, a really cool one that comes to mind for the flesh and blood side is let me bring it up real quick. Um, just so I have the right area. So this is around the Oregon Bigfoot Highway, in an area called Tarzan Springs. It's pretty cool. So this happened roughly about 30 years ago, and it's an individual. His name is Glenn Thomas, and he pretty much saw what he said looked like a Sasquatch that was observed lifting rocks and eating pikas, which are small mammals in the Oregon area. And I mean, that's a very cut and dry, not much high strangeness to it, but it is a very cool report. You can read that in the Oregon Bigfoot Highway. It's called the Glenn Thomas Bigfoot Incident. So there's that one side. Um, let me think. So what would be a very cool, well, something that comes to mind. Oh yeah. And I hope I do this justice. The story of Tom Cantrell when he was on the show, and I know he's shared this a lot of different places. Um, Long story short, Mr. Cantrell has had a lot of health issues over the years, and from what he thinks happened is that a Bigfoot actually healed his heart and made it so that it started beating the right way again. I remember he said something to the effect of the doctor started looking at it and they had no idea why his heart uh, just seemed to uh, change itself. Um, that's also weird because there's a lot of other reports where people have had health related instances and I mean, for one, there was a gentleman in the Mount Rainier area I talked to, and he was out, had a Bigfoot experience out in the field, and then he started to have things happen around his house, and really, really weird paranormal type things. But I believe he had a issue with his back that disappeared after uh, he had some interactions with what he believed were the Bigfoot in his house, and he started to feel this thing go up and down his back, and the issues with his back disappeared the next morning. So very weird. That is starting to come out of nowhere, or people are starting to talk more about it. So that's one where there is kind of a flesh and blood side story in the Oregon Bigfoot Highway, but then you have people like Tom Cantrell and other individuals where they're supposedly becoming healed by their connections and interactions with whatever these creatures are. So
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that pregame on the health side of this all, and there has been a lot. I hate to say it, but death around the Bigfoot community of people that have gotten close to the Sasquatch for
yeah,
some reason. Is it coincidence? And again, this is just my opinion. I am not the Bigfoot guru, and I don't know, but I think there's something going on out there. I don't know 100%, but I think it has something to do with radiation, and I think something with them. They somehow it's on them, or it's around them, or that I can't explain it. But we're working on it, and I believe that that's what happens, and for him to be healed is a pretty wild story. And you can only believe him. He's a great guy, and I don't think he's the type of guy he's gonna BS you either. He's a really smart man, and he's been around the block, and he's well respected. So that's one person that I wouldn't ever doubt. So again, that's just my honest opinion. Tom is a really nice guy.
He is very nice. Yeah.
I did the pork and beans show there with him, and help me out. What's his co-host's name?
Boy, this is not. I'm not gonna know this one.
It's right there now, John. I apologize. But it'll come to me. I'll get it.
It's a good show, though.
Yeah, it's a great show. I love it.
Yeah.
I watch it all the time. I'm gonna have them on this winter, so looking forward to that. All right, so let's see where were we going to go. So how many episodes have you done with Bigfoot Society? How many shows have you done?
Oh, so many. Let me look at my let me look at my spreadsheet.
You can't take up cheat sheets. You can't have that. No.
Too bad. I did it. It's so recorded is we'll say like 936.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
How do you vet them? How do you know what is real and what is not? How do you just give everybody a fair shot?
That's a great question, right? That's assuming that I do vet people. So so it kind of goes back to why I do the podcast in the first place, right? And so on my show, the main purpose of having the podcast is to have a platform so that people can pretty much get things off their chest that are related to Bigfoot interactions that they've had. That being said, there are other shows where like they are heavily vetting, right? And that's awesome. But my goal is that does the person need a platform to share what they've been going through, and no one else will listen to, and no one else ever lets them talk, and no one has ever let them. I mean, there are some times where a person will talk for 40, 50 minutes straight because they have so much that they've gone through, and no one has ever let them just go and not laugh at them. That's why I have the show. A lot of people, after I let them share their story, and then we chat about it. I ask questions and we have a back and forth. But after the recording is done, a lot of them will say, hey, thank you so much for letting me talk. I can actually go to sleep tonight. A lot of these guys, this thing's happened. They haven't been able to sleep for 20 years. They finally have, the ability to just kind of take a breath, and kind of get control of it in a way. So that's really my answer to that. There's not a lot of vetting that happens. I did get a lot of flack about that in the beginning, and I kind of stuck to what I was there for, and it worked out. So
it's your show, and at the bottom line, it's your show, and you're doing it, and it doesn't. There's always going to be that, and it's a shame. I never knew that about the troll thing when I first started all this. I never knew that you would be ridiculed for sharing what you're finding out in the forest. We found a footprint. Well, I'll just tell you a quick story. We found a footprint on Larry's. That's my habituation area for a long time. And there was a footprint on Larry's desk, one solid footprint, and it was in the snow. And it was a beautiful footprint. And I was shown, I just was a second year in. I didn't even know there was conferences when I first started. I had no idea about any of this stuff. And I posted it, and and all of a sudden I'm getting letters from these people saying, you're hoaxing that footprint. Oh, you got to get out of this group. I'm like, whoa, what are you guys talking about? I'm just sharing the footprint that was on the back deck. I don't even know what hoaxing is or what are you talking about? I thought this was a cool finding a footprint. It's a shame that exists in this, because this would go so much further if it weren't for the people that ridicule. You know what I mean? There's a famous quote of thou should cast the first stone. You know what I mean? I don't. And for you to just to push that away and say, listen, this is my show, this is what I'm doing, and I applaud you on that, because it was hard for me to do that. It was hard for me to get past, and still it bothers me. There's certain people out there that really get to me, and they know how to get to me. But like those, like where I was talking about those, the recording that we just got. Now, when that comes out,
That's gonna be big, dude.
people are going to go off the wall, and I'm going to get so much. So that can't be real. That's no way that real. You never could catch that in Connecticut. Well, guess what? We did, and I have to have that mentality. But I applaud you for sticking. I didn't want to make it about me. I'm just trying to say that this whole troll thing is terrible, and I'm glad that you didn't let it bother, and you persevered from it.
Well, I mean, it is in a way. It also, it's like, yeah, you can kind of take it as, oh, like I'm doing enough out there that people have an opinion. That's cool. But I mean, it is sad when I've talked to a few guys in this field where like they've stepped away because of what people, or almost stepped away, and it took them a while to come back. And I mean, at the end of the day, you just have to remember, like, what was it that first made you start this? And you just have to stick with that. Man, so people, that sound isn't public yet, is it?
No, it's not
Oh
public
my
yet.
goodness, people have no idea what's coming. I'm not going to say it, but it is big. It's a big deal, guys. Like, it's going to rock the community when it gets out.
Yeah, it's a 1 in a million. We got really, really lucky, and I can't wait for everybody to hear it. And David Ellis has put his heart into it. He has broken it apart. We have spectrograms and everything of it, and it's going to be really critical. So now I'm using that new program. I'm trying to pull out the chatter, the talking, because there's like hey, in there. We're trying to pull it out now. It's just pretty crazy. I leave my freaking hair stand straight up just doing that. So anyways, it's not about me. This is about you. So I had a question and now it was gone. Now it's gone. It had to do with the troll thing. So you persevered from the troll. Now it's gone. I got all excited again. So from one show to the next show, how do you choose? Do you weave them in? Do you like, because to do your platform, you send everybody a link and they fill out all their information. Do you try and weave the shows in to make it flow? Do you do that, organize it, or do you just go one after the other? How do you?
I mean, I think it naturally is weird because I don't try to do it, but I think what happens is it will naturally do it because, so let's say I have a show that releases about Massachusetts. And then what'll happen is that show will release, and then all these people will start. Actually, this is a good example of this. A month or so ago, I interviewed a lady from Agawam, Massachusetts, which is right outside of Springfield. It's a big city, right? But she saw what looked like a white orangutan run across her car on all fours. It's a really cool story. But then what happened is a guy reached out in the comments in YouTube and he said, hey, that's weird because I had the same thing happen in the same town, just a little bit west. And I was like, wait, man, we got to talk. So I was like, send me an email at bigfootsociety@gmail.com. And then we actually just talked for the show today. So that recorded today. It'll be out in probably a week or so. But so what happens is, because I take the time, I find it very important to try to respond to all the comments and everything. So it naturally starts to have this flow, and different, you'll see different patterns start to arise. So for example, I make playlists on my channel for all different states, but an area of Oregon I really focus on is Oak Ridge, Oregon, which is in the middle of the Willamette National Forest, southeast of Eugene, Oregon. And I've interviewed almost 50 people from this one small mountain town, a small logging town. So you start to see these patterns arise. I think if you are persistent and you follow all the leads that come your way in YouTube and email, And so maybe I don't necessarily try to make it flow, but it just I think it does because I'm trying to follow all the leads. So
And that happened when I did your show from Connecticut.
yeah.
I mean, it's hard to get New England people to come forward. I'm telling you, they don't want to come forward. But I did your show, and then all of a sudden after that, all these people going, I know where he's at. I was there. I've had interactions there. And then Tom, he had an interaction before me. I've been out with all these people already. All these people that I didn't even know existed that had the same interactions because of your show.
Oh, really?
All because of your show. It
Oh,
all
wow.
came from you. And it was awesome. And I've made 5 new friends that I never knew had interactions at the same place I did.
I
So
love to hear that, dude. That's another I mean, I love that. That makes it worth doing is I constantly am, also thinking like, okay, I know a person from here where I'm like talking to a person in an interview, like, oh, they should totally chat with this person. I bet they could hang out together really well. So I'm glad that you got all these connections and new information about your area in Connecticut. That is fantastic.
I know, yeah, it was awesome. I really appreciate that, and I got like I don't know, like 600 subs on my channel, and I haven't put out a video in forever. But they're coming. The winter, I've had a plan, and I'm almost there, and it's close. We're gonna do DIY videos, but again, this isn't about
Oh,
me.
nice.
So now there's stories that you can't publish. There's people that contact you and say, "Listen, I'm going to tell you this, but you can't tell you can't tell my name or you can't whatever." Is there a story that you think folks need to hear without giving away anybody's information that you can share with us tonight that
Um,
that people would love to hear in the chat and where else in
it's
Monsterland they are?
really that man. It's a good question, Chris. So it's gonna make people mad because it's not recorded. But I could so okay. I gotta think of I'm gonna have to edit this a little bit in my mind. So just I'm gonna have to leave states out. There's a gentleman that went hunting in a mountainous state. Him and his buddies are out there. Um, pretty much they end up um, shooting one. Okay. That's not the main point of the story. The main point of the story is that he goes back to his home, 5 states away, different region. One day, this individual shows up in a truck that has words about the original mountainous state on it. The guy comes up to the door. He's like, "Hey, Mr. So and so, we would love to talk to you." Wearing a plaid shirt. He says, "You know what? I'm okay." The guy rams his does the whole foot in the door trick. Says, "Hey, we need to come in." Kicks open the door. Pretty much this guy got tracked down by an undercover agency from this state, and him and his buddies got roughed up pretty bad. That's really the most details I can. I've talked to
I
this
get
guy
you.
for
Yeah,
years.
yeah, thank you. I understand.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
but
can't.
we got to keep it at that. But it got really rough, really quick, and I'm like, man, if you ever want to put it out there, you can. And I gotta leave it vague. That's as detailed. I mean, just for people involved. But that was the one that kind of was like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I could actually put that out like for this guy's safety, right? But
No, you can't. Yeah, that's
yeah,
for sure. You gotta
yeah.
honor your word. That's for sure. And I have one for you. I have a friend, and I can't say where from or what happened. And I'm wondering if you've ever heard of an interaction like this one. He got a hold of me. He was turkey hunting, right? And he's in his turkey stand and or to whatever turkey ground, whatever blind, whatever he was, and he's sitting there, and he sees a Sasquatch come up, right? And he sees it come up from the trail, and it comes up out of the tree, and then all of a sudden, there's like a glitch, like a, and then again he sees it Groundhog Dyke. He sees the Sasquatch come up out of the tree onto the trail, then and come back, and Groundhog Day he sees, I think, 4 or 5 times. Have you ever heard of anything like that? Anybody interaction like that?
Where it repeats over and over?
Yeah, like like glitches out, like time thing. Have you ever heard anything like that? Now this
I
guy,
never have.
I would never doubt this man. I'll tell you that, but I can't say where he's from or anything like that. But
I'm trying to think real quick. No, that's really cool though. Man, that kind of stuff that makes you wonder. No, I kind of want to now though. That's cool.
right, so yeah, if anybody ever hear any of those stories, either contact Jeremiah or myself, because I'm definitely looking into it. It's definitely a weird thing. It's kind of like a time slip type situation, like reliving it over, but it's all in the same time. But he doesn't know if he had any time missing or any of that. He doesn't know if he missed any time. He didn't have a watch or anything. He just remembers seeing that over and over again.
Oh, sure.
So we're gonna take questions probably like at quarter after. How we're jeepers, we're already at quarter of, like about quarter after. So it'll be all in cap letters, and we can give you a little bit more time. So we're gonna get away from the podcast scene now, Jeremiah, and let's get on. What's your boots on the ground now? You got some pretty impressive stuff. You got a footprint that you captured that's really impressive. We got a picture of it, but I guess you got the live cast there, right? So.
Yeah. So the footprint is from an individual. Let me see. Mount Hood National Forest. This one I actually wasn't there to capture. This is in March of 2025. So this is a footprint, and maybe in the pictures later, you can actually see there's dermal ridges down here. Though I will show the other one though. So this is the crazy one. So this is hard to see, but it is a handprint we found, and you can kind of see right up here are where the fingers went like this into the mud. It's massive though. It
is massive.
There's pictures of that, and that kind of maybe does it a little bit more justice. There we go. Yeah. So, and the important thing to know about this handprint is that if you scroll down a little bit, please. So yeah, where your cursor is, leave it right there, please. That's actually the bottom of the hand. The casting lower than this, Cliff says it's actually where the hand was pushed into the mud. So it's kind of like the dragging, right? But yeah, still it's a massive hand. I've got there's a picture in here that has the red circles on it. Not the red circles that people might be expecting. Okay. If it's possible to, there we go. Okay. So this is showing where the handprint was actually found. If you scroll down to the bottom first, the handprint was found, and you can't even really see it, but it's where this red circle is. And I put the other red circles because it's important to know what was going on in this area. So we find a handprint. Next to the handprint, we find a pile of picked ferns that are stacked alternating. So if you can zoom in on the that middle red circle where you can see those are the ferns, and you can see they're kind of stacked, right?
Yeah.
So we've got that, and then the red circle to the right of that, it's really weird stuff. So there was a pile of mud about 6 inches, and then the last red circle, there's a piece of bark that was taken off the tree, and there's another 6-inch pile of mud in there. The weirdest thing, that freaked me out because I was like, why is there this massive handprint in the middle of nowhere with stacked ferns and mud piles? And then I don't have pictures of this, but like 10 feet away, there's all these like tops of trees that are snapped off and like slammed into the ground upside down. And there's like 10 of those. And there are footprints and handprints all over it. Dude, it was weird. It was a really weird area. in the Mount Hood National Forest.
No,
So
that is super cool, dude.
I know, right?
I didn't mean to call you dude, but I did, dude.
You can, dude.
But wow, what do you think it's what's it making? What are your thoughts? My head's spinning right now trying to figure out what he was doing. I mean, this is a really great find. I mean, you don't come across this kind of stuff that
It,
often.
it was wild, dude. And I've got an hour video of this entire I guess you could say afternoon expedition, and I hope one day to be able to release it. I just have to, there's some stuff I have to do in the background, talking to the gentleman again I was out with. So hopefully I get to release that video someday. But I think, it almost is like, did they have the ferns picked and then they're like mixing it with the mud and I mean, maybe putting it on something. I don't really know, but it threw me for a loop for a few hours. I was like, man, I thought it was weird when I heard stuff knocking in the woods, but now I see a huge 10-inch across handprint next to something that looks like a tool station.
Right.
And I never expected to see that.
The only thing I can think of that off the hand is like a log cabin. You know how they put the mud and fern and
Yeah.
logs in between the logs. But I don't think the Bigfoot's building a log cabin.
Yeah, right. The crazy thing is the other thing that happened in this area. So I'm like filming this researcher that took me to his area, which I'm super thankful for. I do have to. I'm not going to say his name publicly right now. But so I'm filming his encounter, many encounters up there, and so I have the camera towards him. He's looking over my shoulder into the woods. We're in the middle of the woods, and all of a sudden, his face goes completely pale and just drops. And I'm like, dude, what's the matter? And he's like, I just saw something extremely large and dark go from tree to tree. I would say the equivalent of probably was 2 tennis courts behind my back. So it was close. If I had been facing the other direction, I probably would have had a sighting that same afternoon. But we were hearing wood knocks around us. We were hearing something in a watery area further down the woods that was splashing around. Really, really weird stuff.
Was this like your first time out in the field, or were you out?
Oh, no. This was this was just this last July. So it was my second trip to Oregon. This is in the Mount Hood National Forest. So not when you hear me talk about Oak Ridge stuff, this is a totally different area. I learned a lot that trip. I learned the Cascade Mountain Range is not to be messed with. I did a lot of traveling up and over mountains that I was not used to, and was not used to the pressure change. I ended up going up to Cliff's museum, hanging out with Cliff. Great museum, talking to him. And then on the way back, I mean, this is kind of a cautionary tale. Like, I had some really wild stuff happen. I decided to go through the Warm Spring Indian Reservation. So I was going to go back to staying at Subtle Lake. And I remember I was like, oh, there's a little fire down there. Shouldn't be a huge deal. That little fire was massive. And what ended up happening is it was like the largest fire in the continental US at the time, out there way past Sisters. Prineville, I think, is the fire. And it was so scary, dude. I ended up, I was like, I had to keep driving and keep driving. And it got to the point where like the smoke was inside the car. And I actually almost like passed out a few times, which is very scary because it got to the point where I was like, I can either stop and give up and they're going to find me, or I need to keep driving and see if I can make it. And it got to the point where like I was breathing into my bandana as I was driving. And I was like, I just got five more miles and I can make the turn to go west. And it's crazy. It's like orange out and there's people that have their sprinkler systems on. I'm like, this is really not good. So I finally get to the area where I can turn west and got west out of there. And I mean, that could have gone really bad. so I'm going to take fires and things way more serious. Not even go near that area when I know they're out there. Be prepared in different ways for next year. But that was probably the scariest situation I've ever been in my life. So
Yeah, I remember when we were in New Mexico and we were at Boyd Omer's house and
oh yeah,
seeing the fires come over the mountains and the whole top of the mountain's just red and the
Yeah.
smoke billowing. I couldn't imagine driving through it. You're lucky. You're lucky that you got through.
I really I'll
Serious.
agree with you. I really am. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm gonna bring up that footprint. Now I got a question of the footprint. Now the footprint showing 4 toes was it just the substrate it was in, or did it have 4 toes?
Yeah, so that's a good call. Because I was like,
Oh, here, let me
I
get
was
this here.
talking to let's just say I was talking to a few individuals about this. And the thing one of them pointed out is if you zoom in on the top, so definitely 4, but then if you look there, it almost looks like, is that maybe a little one to the side? And that could be number 5. I don't know, but that's weird, right?
Yeah.
So
You hear of the 3 foot. You hear of the 3 foot. What did Cliff have to say about this one? Did you bring this to Cliff too, or just a handprint?
I did. And Cliff and the guys that work at that museum are so good and so knowledgeable. They actually, I mean, just to talk a little bit, I had an individual at the Oak Ridge Festival that gave me some hair, and I was like, guys, can you take a look at this? And they were more than willing to take a look at the hair and see what it looked like under the microscope they have. And Darby Orcutt was actually there at the same time, so I got to meet him, and he was like, yeah, send it into my project. I was like, oh yeah. So when the guys were looking at this cast, and this is a first generation cast too, actually, from the guy's collection that he gave to me, they were like, dude, do you know that there's actually dermaglyphics on this down near the heel? I was like, no way. And I mean, there they are. They're right there. So it was, I think it's, from what I know, it's kind of rare to have casts that have those on it, but it's just a cool, it's a cool piece for sure. So I'm just lucky to have it. I had to put it in my bag, got it through the airport.
Yeah, that's
Pretty
tough
wild.
to bring that through the airport these days.
Yeah, it is.
Who casted the handprint? Because that's a pretty good cast. I mean, for not casting all the time, if it was you, you did a pretty sweet job on.
So the person that did the actual casting was the researcher who has many years of practice. And then the casting was actually, let me make sure I get this right here. So there's the original cast, and then so it was middle of the afternoon. The cast wasn't dry yet, and we were like, oh, we got to leave it here. So we had to leave it out in the woods in Oregon, and we were like, okay, so maybe Cliff can come to this area, and so Cliff actually ended up coming to get the cast. We gave him the coordinates, and he was nice enough to come down and get it. And then he's like, it was so thin that he actually had to, I don't know if it even shows up in the pictures. I don't think it does, but if you can, I don't have the bottom, but the bottom of it, if you look from the bottom, it has like all this like reinforcement plaster. Because so really, if I had taken that hand cast with me back to Iowa through the plane, it would have broken, because it wasn't as thick as it should have been. And I think Cliff even had to make a mold of it in a way and redo it. It's not a first generation. So
that's pretty sweet, man.
Yeah, but it's a cool one.
I found, like I told you pregame, I found a handprint one time and I couldn't do it, but I related the fingers into the soil like it was popping and bringing itself up. I have pictures. I'll send you pictures after this.
Absolutely.
You know. So we got this. What's this? They got this cast here too. What are we looking at here? Is this just the other side of it? The hand cast? Oh, it's not on screen. Okay, Chris, you'll be all right.
Yeah. So this is a shot, so you can see, these are the fingers, so you can see how deep down these fingers were going into the mud. It's just a different shot of it. so you can really get what was going on there.
That's a huge. You got it still close by again?
Oh
If
yeah,
you
let me
could-
get it.
You just show everybody that again, how big it is. It's crazy. Here, I'm going to put you on maximize you.
So I mean, you can see how it's massive, right? I never would have been able to get this back in a carry-on.
Oh, wow, that's pretty cool, man. So you've had a lot of adventures. You've gotten some cool vocals also. I'm trying to get all your pictures in here. We're gonna have you back to go through everything again.
Oh, I know. Time is flying by, dude. It's crazy.
Yep, it's just unreal. Okay, here, let me get to the. Where are we? Let's see. All right, he's got a couple. He's got some audio here, guys. That's pretty unusual, and if you ever heard of it or anything. So the first one I'm going to play, it says Oak Ridge clip boosted. So what's the story between the Oak Ridge clip?
That's a good question. So can we play it once and then my mind will be refreshed to the way it should be.
You got to play over again.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
All right. So
like a
yeah. So the story there. So that was the first year going out to Oak Ridge for the festival. So that's 2 Julys ago. The Sunday after the festival, a group of us went up there. That is, it's not Ontario, Roger. This individual, I don't think I can say her name, so I'm not gonna. But a group of us went out there because we wanted to. She actually set up the group to go out into the woods, where it's the same area where we were talking about the banana before, Chris, and the shots of what happened to my legs. So the same area. We wanted Cliff to check the footprints out that we found, which were really cool. He was like, "This is awesome." We're just sitting around in chairs, and unbeknownst to us, one of the other individuals was actually recording audio on his phone at the same time. And so it's weird because I remember that conversation and I don't remember hearing that weird, like, whoop type sound. That female individual was the only person that heard it live. And you actually hear her in the audio say, "Hey, did anyone hear that?" No one else did. No one responded. I have a lot of, maybe I have one of my buddies. He was like, "Are we sure that's not a message tone for a smartphone?" I was like,
Right.
that's a great question. It's a really good question. And so what I did was I broke down the spectrogram in that sound clip, and then with all the message tones from the Android and iPhone, doesn't even look like it. It's totally different. So there's a lot of weird stuff that's happened in that area. I mean, car batteries will go out. There's been a lot of cars that can't start after you hang out there. There's been stuff that's been thrown, all sorts of weird stuff. But yeah, that's one of the sounds that was captured in the Oak Ridge area. It's a research area called Oak Hole, if people have heard that in other shows.
Okay, let's play this one. Going, whoop.
So this is so this actually happened in the last few months. So what happened was I'm doing a solo overnight in an area in Iowa that I've gone to the last few years. It's actually where Tate showed me the first time, right? And so I had my audio recorder out there, and it actually recorded all night. I've never been able to get. Usually it shuts off, which is weird. But so I get the whole night, I'm still listening to all the audio, but I know what a whoop signature looks like. You know what it looks like, right? When in Audacity. And I was like, it'd be cool if I could find one of these. So I actually was able to find one. I was like, oh, that looks like it. So let's listen to it. And it's weird because it doesn't sound like your normal whoop. It's like it's hard to describe, but I've sent it to a few people. I've sent it to Chris Spencer. He was like, yeah, that sounds solid. Um, and so the cool thing is though I've had weird stuff happen in this area in Iowa, but I've never been able to capture anything like that on audio. That like you have that audio and you're like, oh, I actually have the evidence that proves it's there. Kind of like how you captured that in Connecticut, and
Right.
it's like totally changes the game. So I'm like, oh, it's one of the coolest things. I think I don't know if I sent it to you, but I have a there's a clip of like, and this is around 3:30 in the morning. There's a clip of like, I think it's a wood knock and then a whoop, and then it has like me snoring, which is funny. But
Just right here. I got it right here.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah,
You heard it. Buddy.
that one's hard to hear because it's not boosted, but I mean it's there. Like you can hear it's like something hit, and then the light whoop, and then me snoring. So
Audio is tough, man. Audio,
It is.
you never know what you're going to hear. You never know when it's going to hear. I tell everybody, always have your audio running, no matter where you are, where you're at. Have it on your backpack. Always have audio going because you never know when that's going to come across and catch those little things. You know, it's the little stuff that they do more. So I was kind of saving this one of this expedition that you did with the banana peel and everything for last because I think it's an important subject we're talking about. I know more folks are talking about it, and you'll see why as we go along. And when he gets to the part of that's very important. So you want to give everybody a little background on what's going on, and
Yeah.
just tell me what pictures to show it as we go.
Yeah. So keep in mind, this is the first time. So this is 2 years ago when I go out to Oregon. So this is like the first time I go out there, and it's like, oh, we're really going out into like crazy Bigfoot territory, and we're going out to Oak Ridge. And so the locals that I've interviewed for the podcast, they take me out to this area. And this is like 20, 30 miles out in the woods. It's called Oak Hole. And a lot of weird stuff starts happening. 5 hours before I got there, before I flew into Eugene, there had been sightings of a Bigfoot jumping down from a tree on the edge of the meadow and running into the woods, and many other sightings that same day. Now,
wait, hold on. Where you go? See this hat?
Yeah.
Eugene emeralds.
It is. I thought it looked. That's amazing. That's so cool.
I thought it was cool. All right, go ahead. That's why I bought the hat for tonight, the Oregon thing.
That's awesome. So a lot of weird stuff happened out there. A documentary film crew was out there at the same time, Jason Kenzie's film crew. And they had put, there's a gifting area up there. They had put an apple in a tree, an orange, and a banana. And so we had gone up there the next day. And when we checked it out, there was the banana had been taken down and was actually, there's the apple that was put on the stick by Chad, and it had been, the stick was broken off and was on the ground. And then we found there it is. Yep. There's a banana. The banana was on the ground and it was peeled and eaten. And that was the first thing really in Bigfooting that broke my mind. I was just like, for hours, I was like, well, what does this mean? Well, it means that something with hands took it off the tree and then peeled and ate it, buddy. And this is like 20 to 30 miles out in the woods. Like, how does that happen, right? Well, like Bigfoot, right? So that happened. And then to kind of lead into, I noticed so the first time I went up there was on a Thursday, and I noticed as the week went on that my legs started to hurt. and they started to get like a deeper purple, and like it just wasn't really good. And I was like, I put it off at first. I was like, well, maybe things are okay. It started getting like started really hurting. And so the Monday after the festival, it's the day before I'm going to leave to go back to Iowa. And I'm interviewing a wilderness guide at his cabin in northern Oak Ridge. And after his interview, he looks down at my legs and he's like, dude, what are you doing? And I'm like, what are you talking about, man? And he's like, your legs. Do you want them? Do you want to lose your legs? And I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, dude, you need to get to a hospital immediately. And so I was like, oh yeah, you're right. So I went out to Springfield to urgent care, had the doctor look at my legs, and he's like, I have no idea what is causing this. This is what he said. He says, it looks like something took a stick, a large log, and beat the crap out of your legs because of the way that there's like it looks like there's internal bruising or damage, and it's like coming up to the surface, right? So he had his other doctor buddy come in, and the other doctor buddy was like, I have no idea what happened to your legs either, but that's what it looks like. The weird thing is, so they ended up putting me on like a really high antibiotic, and thankfully it brought it back to how it should be after a week. And my doctor in Iowa had no idea either. He was like, came out of nowhere, left out of nowhere. And I was like, okay, cool guy. But the weird thing is that the documentation that they did give me, even though they didn't say this to me personally, the documentation said one of the causes of something like this can be exposure to high amounts of radiation. And I was like, oh my goodness. I will tell you a few things. There was one time when I was up in that Oak Hole area where we were sitting in the chairs. This is Sunday afternoon. And for 5 minutes, I couldn't move. I was staring into the wood line. It's 5 minutes. I was just totally like almost like paralyzed. And then all of a sudden it was like, boom. And I was like, oh, I'm back. It's a very weird area. It's very strange up there, Chris.
Right. So you were in a Bigfoot area. You had Bigfoot activity, and then you got these weird looking, could be radiation burn marks, in my opinion. I mean, that's what came back at the end of it all. I mean, the doctor didn't straight out tell you, but because that's not supposed to happen in the forest. But you got burns on your legs that are bruising your things. More and more people are talking about this. Do you think more and more people should be talking about this? Do you think more people should be protecting themselves with certain meters while they're out there? Because whatever's going on in the forest it's real, and it's happening, and we've measured it numerous times.
I think that people need to be aware of what they're getting into potentially. When I talk to, let's say a lot of like, bright-eyed, newer like potential researchers, and they're like, I just want to go out and have like a Bigfoot encounter. Part of me wants to be like, it's the whole, like, you hear the old timers say, be careful what you wish for. And it's super true, because man, if the thing is like, we've talked about this off air, if the thing that can help you is having like a RF meter or radiation meter, right? And like being aware that you were telling me it hits a certain area. If it hits that area, then get out of where you are. I think people need to be aware of that.
Right.
So.
And I have to agree with you. And like I told you earlier, that my wife doesn't want me back in the forest because she thinks that the bad things that's happened to me is because of this. And most folks don't know this, but I was telling you earlier, when I got back from Alabama, everybody, I have a scar on my cornea.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in Bigfoot areas the whole time I was in Alabama. I don't know how, a scar, you know what I mean? Some kind of some kind of thing. And now I have another eye thing. How do you get a scar on your cornea? You know what I mean?
It's weird stuff, dude.
Well, yeah. So again, I can't say that it is that, but it doesn't hurt to take precautions, because how did that feel on your leg? Was it hot, or what did it feel like? The bruising.
It was an extremely intense pain. It was hard. It was getting harder to walk every day. So the thing that gets me, Chris, is that, and so we mentioned this. I mentioned this earlier, and I'll. So when I was 3 years old, I had pediatric cancer. So I was one of the first survivors of that in the early 80s. But because of that, I have an extremely high pain tolerance, like really, really, really high. So that means, unfortunately, I will put things off or not pay attention to things that a normal person would be like, oh my goodness, I'm in an extreme amount of pain. I should probably go to the hospital, right? Because, I was having stuff like spinal taps in the hospital when I was 3 years old and stuff like that. So, yeah. It's just it's a weird thing, dude.
Yeah, yeah. It's you just got to be aware that if you're going to go out in the forest, they're just like that flat rock land just said. I posted it for everybody. There's more out there than meets the eye, and I mean, no pun intended there. It was a good one.
Right.
But you have to be ready for everything, and we're not trying to scare anybody or saying that it's really happening out there, but the coincidence is starting to turn into data, and that
Mhm.
should start really taking notice. And
Yeah.
that's all. I just wanted people to be aware, and we talked about it after I did because I told him about the when did his on his show. I told him about what I thought about the radiation, and he goes, "You're not going to believe this about my leg." And then he told me the whole story about his leg, and I was like,
Yeah.
wow. So, and there's more folks. So if anybody else out there is having these things, please contact either of us, and I would like to get it all logged up and start, really, seeing if we can get some more data on it and what's going on. Because I think that white stuff that they touch, like that side that's left on windows, I think that's radioactive. So if we got a Geiger counter, because we know that big feet, their prints are radioactive. That's been measured before. They
Oh yeah.
started.
Yeah.
So,
Joe Doyle in West Virginia. Yep.
so we know that. So I'm wondering if that white stuff is radioactive too. So, it's $100 for a little Geiger counter that you can carry in your backpack that does a great job of measuring radioactivity. So, something just to be aware about. All right.
Absolutely.
So we're all right. So I'm way past. It's time for questions here. Well, I just want to say thank you, sir. It's been a great
Hey, you
time.
got it, man.
Been a great interview. I really appreciate it. We're already at the 1 hour and 15-minute mark, like that, like a blink of an eye. I didn't even know it was that late. All right, so I got a couple questions started. I just want to tell before I go, people, I'm not paying attention to the chat. I can't. This is my bad eye. This is the eye that's detached 4 times. I can't really see too good to watch the comments and watch the guests. So I can't put you guys up on the screen as much as possible by myself. I just want to let you know that I'm not ignoring you. It's just I can't do it. So
Yeah.
when I see something, then when I can come over and see something, I try and get it up there. So anyways, I try and star things as we go along, and so just to let you know that I'm not ignoring you. That's not part of what's going on. I just can't see it too well. So Mr. Patrick Nobel asked, what is the comparison to reports from the West Coast to the East Coast? Any area have more than others? That's a great question.
So yeah, that's a really good question. The cool thing is what I've started to do is on my just to kind of do a quick plug. If you go to BigfootSocietyPodcast.com, I have my own sighting map based on all the encounters I've taken. I've got a few hundred episodes to finish up, but I've pretty much got a lot of stuff in there. And there are some really cool things. I would say the West Coast is a lot more active, at least on my show, because I talk to a lot of people from the West Coast, especially the Cascade Mountain Range. But the cool thing that I've noticed is that there's actually a line that goes from the Cascades over to like Walla Walla, Washington, and then goes all the way up the Rocky Mountains into Canada. and then it like comes back down, makes a W over into Montana. So that's kind of a cool pattern. I don't know if I've seen that on any other maps. The other cool thing I've started to notice is that there's actually a ton of activity that I've started to see in, I would say, Northwest Connecticut and Southwest Massachusetts, and maybe not far Southwest, but like, well, you know the area I'm talking about, Chris, but also up in Massachusetts, kind of over by Agawam in Granville. There just seems to be a lot of Bigfoot stuff being reported in that area of Massachusetts and Connecticut. So there are weird patterns that arise once you start keeping a map of all the stuff that you are bringing in.
I know where Granville is. They have they make their own cheese up there. It's called Granville Store Cheese. Oh, it's
Cool.
banging cheese. But I know exactly where those areas. I've been up those areas, and they're all there is up there is state land, acres and acres and acres and acres and forests of state land, and it's just ridiculous how much land is up there. But that's a good place for them. Miss Diane Fowler asks, have you been back to the place again to see if it was high in radiation?
So, Diane, I have been, but I did not check. And this next time, I will definitely check. Can I tell you one thing that happened in that area? That was weird, real quick. So, a group of us went up there. MK Davis was there too, as I was saying before. I went out in the woods a little bit by myself, and I wanted to try the whole thing where it's like, hey, if there's anyone here, can you make a noise out loud type thing? So I said, hey, if there's anyone here, can you make a noise? Half a second later, I heard like 30 feet into the woods, and I was like, oh my goodness. And I was like, I'm going to try it again. So I was like, hey, if there's anyone here, can you make a noise? And it was like, I was like, I'm out of the woods. I'm getting back to the group. This is a little bit too weird for me. So that area is like, it's charged with some weird stuff, dude.
Yeah, Glenn, big brown dwarf's with us. Hey, Glenn, I didn't see you in there.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah, I like Glenn. He's a good friend. I like Glenn. He's a good guy. Right. Let's see. Let's see what we got in here. Jeremiah. They get going themselves. I think half the time they're not even listening to us, dude. Al says, Jeremiah, try asking questions telepathically next time you're out there.
I think, yes. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
There's Glenn. Have you what do you think of mind speak? What do you think? You've heard a lot of interactions, I get. What do you think it's real, or what do you think? What is in your opinion?
I'm not quite sure yet. I have talked to people that I really trust and I really know well, and I would trust them with anything, and they have told me some things. I mean, you even have people like Les Stroud that have experienced it, and they've gone through testing to make sure that they were, psychologically okay. And I mean, the thing is like you have stuff like I don't know if you've ever listened to the Telepathy Tapes podcast. It's fascinating stuff, and stuff like that I think is starting to become more studied and potentially more accepted. And I don't know. I don't know, man. I think I'm still trying to figure it out myself. Is what I'm trying to say, and maybe the story's not completely written on that one for me yet. So
no, sometimes you got to experience it yourself.
Yep.
I think there's more awareness coming, and I think it's more pertinent out there with people that is going on, because I think there's something that's coming that is it's an energized. It's a certain energy that you need. And there's something that possesses that energy, and it's opening up these minds of the people that are blessed enough to have this ability. And I think that's what's coming. And I think that's what's happening. I think there's a new something coming. I think that I don't know how to explain it. I just think that's what I think. So just my opinion. But I've experienced it. I've only experienced it once. And then I never experienced twice in the same week, and then I never experienced it again ever. So it was very strange. We had some crazy stuff happen here at the house, and
Yeah.
I have to come back on your show and tell that story of the craziest month of my life.
Oh. Ooh.
So what's coming up for you? What's on the horizon here?
Well, let's see. So this time of year is kind of my I don't do a lot of traveling. Like my last event was late September, the local one in Van Meter, Iowa. Next year, I've got planned definitely going back to Oak Ridge in July. Right now, I'm planning to go down to southeast Oklahoma to Honabi to try to I actually have some really cool stuff planned for down there. I can't talk about yet if it works. But that area has been on the bucket list for a long time, and it looks like it's going to be able to work out. Hopefully, able to the air. So the sound in Iowa, where I captured the weird like whoop signature. I'm the plan is to start taking research in that area a lot more seriously. So hopefully be able to spend a few weekends in 2026 there. But I mean, for the show, keep doing what I'm doing. People are still reaching out. I have people reach out probably 5 to 6 emails a day, and I've started doing these lives on TikTok. TikTok's is a weird platform, but the people on there have never shared their Bigfoot encounters with anyone else. So sometimes I'll do lives on there, and like we'll go for like 3 hours, and it is literally like 13 people wanting to come up and just like share what they experienced because no one's ever listened to them. So that's the idea for the winter time. And then Iowa winters are tough. We get down to like 40 below sometimes. So get through that and then maybe go out into the field a few times.
Nice. Well, I look forward to hearing it. We're right at the end there. I look forward to hearing more from you, and it was a great information tonight. You shared some amazing casts and some amazing pictures. We still didn't touch on some of it, and so that leaves us room to have you back again down the line. And
Absolutely, I'd love to.
I would love to have you again, and I'm sure the folks in the chat room would have. Sir Verax, he's a very nice person.
He's a cool dude. I know that guy. I've
know,
seen him in chats before.
yeah, great guy. They're all great people in this chat.
Yeah.
I love every single one of you guys. You know that. Definitely. So I'm going to say goodnight to everybody. I'm just going to put you backstage. Hold on, and then I'll say goodnight to you after I get done. So thanks, everybody. But ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jeremiah Byron. See you a little bit, buddy. All right. What another great show, guys. Thank you so much for being part of it, part of our journey here, and just being cool in the chat. And what a great guest, huh? He's like I said, he's one of the good guys in the Bigfoot community, and definitely was a pleasure to have him with us. Next week is the Halloween special. Tuesday night, I have Miss Linda Sigmund, and we're going to be doing Mothman for the first time, and I'm excited about that, to hear about the Mothman. I'm going to be doing a little research myself on it. I'm also going to run a contest next week, and I'm not going to tell you what it is until next week, but the winner will get to guest host a show with me. So that's what I'm going to do. You'll win, and you'll be able to guest host. The wrenches can't win. I'm sorry, we can't have you win the contest. I know you guys are gonna get mad at me, but I just think it's fair that the wrenches can't get in. So please don't be mad. I love you guys, and but that's gonna be a little contest, and you'll be able to co-host the upcoming show I haven't decided which one yet. I just booked a couple really good guys, so I'm very excited. So that's all I got. So everybody have a great week. Don't forget, Doug's show moved to Sunday nights. He won't be on Wednesdays this week. He's moved to Sundays for a little while. So don't forget about that. Don't forget to watch Roger Holler. Don't forget to watch that on Thursday nights. So thank you very much for all being here. And I got a little quote for you guys tonight. Just because you haven't seen something doesn't mean it isn't watching you. And as my friend Larry says, get in the woods, people.
Out of my head, out of bed, still sleeping. Could I be dead? Or is it something I have done? Did I lead you on to think that I was gone? Trapped inside fake reality. Better days will never come for me. How can I be honest with myself when I'm always playing someone else? Once in a while, I get tired of talking. I put on a smile and let